Now, heavy rain and floods have wreaked havoc in Newcastle in KwaZulu-Natal. At least 80 people being evacuated and relocated to community halls there. Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs MEC Bongis visiting flood-stricken areas in the Newcastle local municipality. And watching developments there and following that story for us this afternoon is senior reporter Siphamandla Goge. He joins us now live. Good afternoon, Ngome. So what's the situation like now? What's the latest? What has the MEC found?
At least her visit has confirmed that according to the official statistics that the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs together with the police have, is that there are 3 confirmed deaths due to the ongoing heavy rains in Amajuba district. Amajuba district comprises of municipalities such as Newcastle local municipality, which is regarded as the economic hub in this district of Amajuba. There is Danhausa as well as Emadlangeni, which used to be known as Utrecht local municipality. It's not looking good in terms of those 3 cases or deaths that have been confirmed by the MEC to us. She said there are 2 deaths that occurred in Emadlangeni, that occurred in Danhausa, and there is 1 in Newcastle. We are standing in a yard of a home whereby family members lost a 2-month-old baby. You can imagine that happened yesterday. They were trying to relocate, move away from one house to another house to try and seek shelter. Heavy rains came down and the child was basically affected by those heavy rains, and unfortunately the child passed away. They are still in mourning. We've spoken to the mother of the child. She's very devastated. She has told us that she's got nothing and she is appealing to provincial authorities to assist. So the MEC has visited this family and has confirmed that indeed the 2-month-old baby is part of the 3 people that have passed away in Amajuba district. Amajuba, as I've alluded, they comprise of areas such as Danhausa, where 2 people passed away, Newcastle, where this 2-month-old baby passed away, and Emadlangeni, where a number of houses, roads and bridges have been washed away. In total, across KwaZulu-Natal, there are 4 districts that are heavily affected by these floods. They include Zululand, Gude, whereby there are reports of a 17-year-old girl that is still missing in Jozini and Umkhuze, and you would have Amajuba district as well as King Chetwayo, which includes areas such as Richards Bay. Yesterday, the South African National Defence Force issued a statement saying their tent, which they are using to prepare for the annual Armed Forces Day, which is due to be celebrated or commemorated next week, was heavily affected. Their members had to be accommodated to nearby community halls. So King Chetwayo, which includes Richards Bay, Gude, including Jozini, Amajuba, which includes Newcastle, as well as Zululand, are some of the districts 4 that are heavily affected. The MEC telling us that on Wednesday, the Executive Council of KwaZulu-Natal is meeting and they are going to take a decision whether to formally put forward a proposal for these districts to be declared disaster areas or not.
Yeah, and that's something that would help, I guess, unlock some of the much-needed relief and emergency relief and resources. I see there's still very much dark clouds around there where you in Newcastle, Ngome, and hopefully there won't be any more rain. Are there concerns from local authorities that things could get worse if it rains some more?
Indeed, I guess that's the generic and the most pressing concern. If you interview local authorities, where we are at the moment in Newcastle, you have had 4 intervals of rain. In the morning when we woke up, it had cleared. There was sunshine. We drove around the central business district of Newcastle town, which is the economic hub, and was heavily affected. Basically, economic activity was taking place. About 2 hours later, rain started coming down, and those mop-up and clean-up operations were affected because there are some shops that are still trying to recover from this disaster. And then now those clean-up and mop-up operations, they keep getting affected and then disturbed by the rain. As we are doing this live interview, the interview that we were doing with the MEC of Cogta about 15 minutes ago, Bongistole Mloyi, was disrupted by heavy rains, and then it has since cleared, but you can tell by the clouds that are forming behind me that definitely any minute from now heavy rain will start to come down, and that affects mop-up operations, and that's a concern that was raised by one of the mayors from Danhauser, who said to us the problem is most of the roads outside Newcastle town centre, they are inaccessible. The heavy equipment, graders and TLPs are unable to drive through and fix those roads because they are still wet and it's not safe to go through. And if it continues to rain, it will delay those efforts, and it will simply mean there are communities that are still inaccessible. Therefore, they are unable to collate all the information and statistics about people who are in desperate need of urgent help. But we have seen organizations such as the Red Cross and the Alim Dad Foundation, they are driving around Newcastle to assist flood victims. But it continues to be a concern if this rain will continue to come down.
Yeah, the low-lying areas will be mostly worst affected. Short of a declaration of a state of disaster in those districts that you've outlined earlier, are the authorities like the MEC confident that they will assist the people currently who need help?
Indeed, that is correct. The MEC is of the view that as they are visiting these districts, they are trying to see what urgent help is needed. But for now, you are talking about people who will need blankets, mattresses, they will need food. And remember, some of them have been disconnected from power. We've been driving around Newcastle. We've been seeing a lot of ESCOM vehicles trying to rebuild the damaged infrastructure. The issue of power and water shortages is one of the main concerns right now. The MEC saying, well, they will be deploying more resources from the provincial government to assist these 4 districts in terms of at least trying to rebuild the damaged infrastructure, trying rescue operations to see which other communities still need assistance in terms of being helped out, and then most importantly to rebuild those roads and bridges so that they can be able to reconnect with communities that need help.
Yeah, Mother Nature. Thank you very much, Ncome. Siphamandla Goge, our senior reporter on the ground in Newcastle, just giving us a sense of what is really happening on the ground there as local authorities are visiting the affected areas by the bad weather and flooding.